At www.spreaker.com, create your own radio show and find thousands of exclusive radio channels.
Get ready, America. Up next is the fastest growing podcast in the nation, the Sports Parade Magazine podcast, heard daily by tens of thousands, hosted by the one and only Mark Clark, the man with the New Orleans accent who gives it to you straight with no chaser. Damn, I love that Mark Clark. Give him a call, 713-553-6370. Email him, markclark@sportsparademagazine.com, or follow him on Twitter @MarksWords or @SportsParadeMag, or listen via any phone. Simply dial 619-550-0516 and at the prompt number 4. There's no better way to advertise or hit your target market than with the Sports Parade Magazine Daily Podcast. Call 713-553-6370 for rates. And now, without further ado, the man, my main man, he's a bad man, Mark Clark.
Oh, bring it, baby, bring it all the way live. That's right, it's your boy, Mark Clark, publishing LTL Sports Parade Magazine. Today's podcast, Thursday, January 24th, baby. Get ready, New Orleans. I'll be there. I'll be there Sunday, all week long for Super Bowl. We're going to be broadcasting on the YouTube channel, Sports Parade Magazine, the YouTube channel. We're going to be streaming Media Day Live, all of the different events, all of the different stars. It's going to be fun-packed, action-packed. I can't wait. I'm hyped. And yes, I'm a bad man. We want to take a little time out before we start the podcast to talk about one of our newest sponsors, NOLA Seafood Shack. NOLA Seafood Shack. You know, after Katrina, so many different people in the Houston area from New Orleans. I mean, every time you turn around, you're seeing somebody with a Saints flag, somebody from New Orleans. Guess what? The question always remains, this is not New Orleans. Where do we get the food? Look no further, right in the heart of Katy, Texas. 2006 Fry Road. 2006 Fry Road. All of those that live in the Katy, Texas, Houston area, that's just a few blocks before you get to a few blocks off I-10, maybe about a mile off I-10 on Fry Road going north. NOLA Seafood Shack. They specialize in everything New Orleans, baby. I went over there. You get the bald crawfish. Yes, they have them and they're good. You get the bald crabs. But let's talk about the po' boys. Hot sausage, shrimp, catfish, homemade roast beef, oyster, soft shell, crab po' boys. They also have the seafood baskets. You can get a Canal Street catfish basket, a Bayou Classic shrimp basket, a Shopper-Tula's combo basket, which is shrimp and catfish, downtown oysters, uptown crabfish, Pontchartrain soft shell crab, Morero combo, catfish, shrimp, oysters, crawfish. Baby, you got me stuttering over here mispronouncing words. I'm so excited. I stayed at this place when I met this gentleman and they came on board as a sponsor about 3 hours. He was letting me taste everything from the bread pudding to the crawfish to the turkey necks. They have it all. NOLA Seafood Shack in Katy, Texas on Fry Road, 2006 Fry Road. Put it in your GPS. Give them a call, 281-646-9955. 281-646-9955. And remember, always tell them your boy Mark Clark in the Sports Parade Magazine podcast sent you over. That's the only way to do it. Well, we're heading to Super Bowl week, but we're going to talk about a little bit other things in the world of sports, as we'll be talking about and delving in that all next week on the podcast. The Manny Te'o, Manny, whatever way you pronounce the boy's name, from Notre Dame All-American linebacker, continues. Did an interview with Katie Couric that will air today on her talk show. And we got a little snippets of the interview. The Notre Dame linebacker told Couric that he was naive, trusting, a big-hearted kid who was so in love and so kind, so gullible, that he was the perfect target for being hoax victim, or as they say in modern terms, a catfish victim. He was so just innocent, just purely innocent at 22 years old. He threw the questions back to Kirk. Whenever she would ask him something, he would come back at her. You know, Kirk said, you lied on national TV. You lied. You put yourself in a situation where you knew at this time on December 3rd that it was a hoax, according to you. You knew, but you went on national TV, did interviews where you said that this was the love of your life and an inspiration for not only your season, but your entire rest of your football career. Why did you do that? So he threw it back at her. He said, what would you do? I was ashamed. What would you do? What would you do? There's a thing that they say for all you lawyers out there. Never ask a question that you don't know the answer to. Because if I was Katie Couric, I'd say, I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't take it to those depths. I'd say, you know what? There's no more girlfriend. I mean, it was a bad problem I had. That's gone. But when you say she's still your inspiration, she's still the love of your life. Come on, man. Are you serious? Are you serious? Let me just talk a little bit about this subject. This boy, Te'o, has been caught in lie after lie after lie. And for the most part, the national media, in particular people on ESPN, with the exception of Stephen A. Smith, are trying to say, well, he's innocent and he's just a kid. He's just a kid. He's 22 years old. Des Bryant can get in trouble with the law, the wide receiver of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't hear anybody saying he's just a kid at 22. I don't see that. They say, well, he's a thug. He's a thug. But this kid does something. And people say, well, it's not breaking the law. But you think about that. How many people donated money to the National Cancer Society based upon this emotional story about this pretend girlfriend that had leukemia and died? How many people lived and fell in and bought into his lie? And then he's constantly saying, well, what would you do? What would you do? I tell you what I wouldn't do, Manny Te'o. I tell you what I wouldn't do. I damn sure wouldn't have a 3-year relationship dating back to '09 on the phone. And I damn sure wouldn't hide it for up to a month on December 3rd to December 26th from my coach, from my AD, from my parents, according to you. And I wouldn't continue that lie and that hoax. I tell you what else I wouldn't do, Manny Te'o. I would not hide like he did. He said, I'm working out with my agent. I'm working out, getting ready for the NFL draft. I'm not talking to anybody. But I don't have any problem with my athletic director at Notre Dame getting on TV crying, saying that he was so innocent. He never met anyone as innocent as Te'o. You're 22 years old. You letting other people cry for you and say how innocent you are and how you're just a lamb. But then on the other hand, you're preparing for the NFL draft. A man's game, a rough game, a gladiator's game, a gladiator sport, a warrior sport. Are you kidding me? So what he did was he hid. He did an only off-air interview with Jeremy Schaap on ESPN. And he had to just go by the transcripts of that interview. This Couric thing is the first interview. And lo and behold, Katie Couric's daytime talk show is on life support. Life support. Why are you talking to Katie Couric? Well, maybe because your agent is also the agent of Katie Couric. That's a little fishy there. How can you have any credibility as Katie Couric if you're the agent that represents this young man? Doesn't look right, doesn't smell right. And what do we say? If it looks like a skunk and it smells like a skunk, it ain't a goldfish, baby. It's a skunk. You can't clean that up. But then you've gotten with high-priced lawyers. You've gotten with high-priced individuals under your agent, spin doctors, people that get paid to tell you if you go in court, you're supposed to wear this color tie, you're supposed to wear these type of glasses, this type of haircut, you're supposed to have this look on your face. Body language experts, word masters, spin masters. So now you show up on Kirk a month later after all of this stuff has been revealed, the curtain has been pulled back on the Wizard, and you have all of your ducks in a row. What would you do, Katie? What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? So in other words, you're making excuses for lying. But still, people defend him. He's just a kid. He's just a kid. He's just a kid. How are you a kid when you have people fighting and dying for our country every day, that age and younger? But he's just a kid? And how can you trust anybody back and support this quote-unquote kid when on the same token, you have no problem saying, well, yeah, he lied about this and lied about that and lied about this. Yes, he did embellish this. He did this, that, and the other. But that's okay. That's okay because he was just embarrassed. Well, you know what? A lot of people commit crimes because they're embarrassed. They're not telling the kid that robs the liquor store that's trying to pay rent and feed his children. Well, he was just embarrassed to say he needed help, so he chose to go rob somebody. And before anybody starts bombarding me on Twitter, which, by the way, is @MarksWord and @SportsParadeMag, before anybody starts doing that, saying you're being too hard, this is not the same case. He didn't hurt anybody. He hurt a lot of people. Would he have gotten the Heisman attention that he was supposed to get? Would somebody else have gotten that attention and had the chance to be a Heisman finalist? Would he have been considered so high up in the upcoming NFL draft if indeed someone else had that opportunity? So don't tell me he didn't hurt. You can't tell that many lies and build up this larger than life that when you go to an away game in Michigan for your collegiate career earlier last year during the football season, and the entire 100,000 home crowd where Notre Dame is the away team, stand up. Baby, stand up. Cheering that fool. Cheering that fool on. Because they're overcome with emotion. The emotion. My grandmother died. And on the same day that my heart was ripped away from me, my girlfriend also died. But you never went to her funeral. You never went to see her when she was dying. But you told stories about how your heart was ripped even further open as the casket was closed. Come on, man. That's way more than lies, man. Come on. That's sick. But you get in front of Katie Couric, polished, prepared for court, by fixers, by word masters, by spin masters.